Good morning, everyone. It's Lisa from the Miller Life, and welcome back to my channel. Sorry, there was a thing on my camera. I ran across a video from Dax Shepard. He's a famous actor, if you will. And he was interviewed by the off-camera show. It is so powerful and so good. And I feel that there is a message here for me and for others. So I want to share that with you. And I'm going to put this in my addiction playlist. And I'll also put it in other playlists, but this is really important, and I think it really needs to be said. And I have a newfound respect for him. I only remember him in the movie Employee of the Month. And I thought he was a dick. But he's not. Oh, and Baby Mama. So, we're going to get this going.
I want to stay on the podcast for a minute longer
Sure.
because the episode I listened to with Gordon Keith was so powerful, and he is also in recovery. And there was a moment on that show where I guess he had stayed at your house. And he went snooping around your house and was going through your books and found the big book.
Right.
Which is the Bible for
AA.
Yeah. And he opened it up, and inside there were a whole bunch of dates that you had written and crossed out, and there were notes alongside of some of the dates that were very self-deprecating, mean.
Yeah.
And the last date wasn't crossed out. And maybe you could just share what those dates were. And
It's really funny because my first thought when he's telling the story that he found that book is I'm embarrassed by that. Like, I'm embarrassed how many times I quit and couldn't do it.
quit drinking or
Quit drinking and drugs, yeah. So he's explaining that he was sitting on the couch early in the mornings looking at these dates, and what he sees, as opposed to me, is he sees someone who just won't quit.
Right.
And he starts crying while he's saying that, because I think he's been there too. And then I get really emotional, and I, for maybe the first time, am proud of myself that I didn't quit quitting.
Yeah.
Because it's demoralizing. Like, to truly be powerless over something is fucking demoralizing. It's so rough. And yeah, that was one of those things where it's kind of a source of shame for me, and then I see his reaction to that, and that's a source of optimism for him. It like infected me, where I was like, oh, yeah, good on you. You did. You kept at it. You didn't die from this. And a lot of us do, you know? Because I think there's a couple of common fallacies about sobriety. One of them being that people hit a bottom, and then that's that. And most addicts have many bottoms. I mean, I had many. I have many events that were even worse than the one that ended up being my last event, you know? Like, on one occasion, I went out on a Friday night, and I had seen my pill drug dealer earlier in the day. And I had gotten pills for what I would have assumed would have been the next week and a half. So I had gotten maybe 100 Vicodin, 80 Percocet, 40 Xanax, like 50, 60 diet pills. I go out on Friday night. I run into a guy. I'm getting coke. Do you want some? Yeah, I'll get an 8-ball. I get an 8-ball. Then I'm at the bar and I'm like, I don't want to be at this bar. I want to be back at my apartment doing this. So I stop on the way home and I get 2 fifths of Jack and a case of beer. Okay, that's Friday night. I come to in my bed and it's dark out, and I'm like, oh man, it must be like Saturday night. Like, I'm a little foggy on. I remember buying all that stuff and going back to my apartment, and that's where the memory stops. And I like get up and my ribs hurt really bad, and then I go out in the kitchen and I see that it's all gone. Everything's gone. There's 2 empty fifths, there's beer cans everywhere, there's plastic from where the Coke was. The pill box is empty. I come to realize that it's Monday. And I'm like, I've never had an experience like that where I missed 3 days. I have nothing. And again, you would call this a rock bottom in that I fully acknowledge you should not wake up from that. I should just know 90% of people are not waking up from that amount of stuff. And I called my mom crying, just scared, I scared myself so bad. And, you would assume that would be it.
Yeah.
And no, there was a good year of drug use and alcohol use beyond that moment. So that wasn't the moment. The life-threatening thing wasn't the moment. The moment for me was really, I was about to start this movie, Zathura. I had just come off a really long press junket for Without a Paddle, where I traveled everywhere. I was like, oh, I need a week. I want a week vacation. I go with a friend to Hawaii. I try to buy coke. I end up buying crystal meth. Well, the hell with it. I smoke crystal meth for 2 days. I get in a car accident with some local dude that's on the way to get. It's just a disastrous trip. I'm sick most of the time, and I'm just hammered and doing drugs the whole time. When it's time to leave, I have a layover in San Francisco, Hawaii to San Francisco, then to LA. When I get to San Francisco, I'm so physically sick that I have to go to the bar. I'm like, I have to get some alcohol down. There's no way I'll make it onto this flight to LA. So I go into the bar, but I've been in AA at this point. So I'm terrified someone's gonna see me that knows I'm supposed to be sober. So I am very huddled into the corner of this bar, and I'm just ordering Jack and Diets, and I'm like trying to get a few down so I can get on this flight. I'm so physically ill. And it is the proverbial, there's a mirror right here. And I have this moment where I kind of take stock of my life, and I am about to star in this movie, Zathura. They're paying me a ton of money. People recognize me at the airport. I'm doing everything I had dreamt of doing for 30 years. It all came true. And I am the least happy I've ever been in my life. I'm closest to not wanting to be alive as I've ever been. And I have every single thing on paper that I wanted. And that was a very weird, I feel grateful for this, because I was able to say, oh, something much more profound is broken. Because up to then, I could tell myself, well, if I had money, I wouldn't need to do this. If I was doing the thing I wanted to do, that would solve everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us proceed through life thinking we would be happy if. We would have self-esteem if. We would know contentment if. And those are illusions that most people don't get to find out are illusions. And I got to find out it's an illusion. I was lucky enough to have $1 million. If you would have my whole life, if I had $1 million, like, do you know how I would feel if I had $1 million? You know what my life would be like with $1 million? Well, I had $1 million, and I couldn't get on a flight to fly 35 minutes. And I was like, oh, it's none of those things.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, then why not subscribe? Click right here for lots more off camera. And if you want to see the hour-long version of these conversations, I'm going to give you the secret link. Here it is, offcamera.com. Check it out.
Okay. So you get the gist of this. And, they're habits too. So you hide pills. You hide them in your favorite places to hide them. And I find myself doing that all the time. Not to do any harm, not to abuse, but it's a habit. It's a habit that needs to stop. I have a very newfound respect for Dax Shepard. Good on him. He has found his level. And I'm a new fan of his. So if you like that, I'll put the link in the description box below. And you could go check out, because there's like a whole lot of videos with celebrities that intrigue me, very much so. including Kristen Bell. And she talks about her husband. So I think you'll find some enjoyment out of it. So anyways, I might do another reaction video later, but I'm going to take a little break right now because I took my morning meds and I'm tired. So I love you guys. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.